As last time you saw me, I was kind of scruffy. My hair was a little greasy from a long walk. It was a deep mental health talk, me expressing myself about the day I basically met God and saw the light. And if you want to check that out and have a bit of a spiritual mental health talk, then you can go check out the old video if you haven't seen it yet. It's only a few days old. It's not that old. But today is a much more simple, much more approachable, much more common topic, especially because I'm a lot farther past that stuff in my life than it seemed in that video. It's just I had to really meet my crowd. It was the first video. It had to come out as authentic as possible. So here I am now, nicer shirt, nicer office, in a home, not homeless, progressing, clean face, clean hair, good routines, drinking a lot of water. I've lost 12 pounds in the last week. I'm on a 90-day transition right now between getting up to 247 pounds. Now I'm down to in the 230s, and I'm trying to get down to 210. But in order to do this, there are things I need to quit first. So I'm going to take you to my bathroom, which is just right there. It's a big bathroom. And it goes on to another room that I'll show you in another video, my theater room. But we're going to go over habits when it comes to vaping, nicotine, and smoking weed and smoking oil and THC. And I'm not going to like tell you guys you should quit or anything by any means. I'm just going to go over my experience so far with and without weed, because I went without weed for an entire week for pretty much the first time in my whole fucking life. Alcohol is no big deal and isn't part of this video because I haven't had alcohol in over 6 years and I've never even enjoyed the taste of it. I've never had a problem with it. I just don't like it. So it's irrelevant to this video. But if you are a drinker, when I'm talking about the weed and when I'm talking about the vape and I talk about addictions, just vicariously live through that moment thinking about alcohol for you, if that's what the kick is for you. Anyway, guys, I'll join you. Anyway, join me there.
You know, this is on the split. Call me Lifestyle. Yeah.
So, as we can see here, we have a big water bottle and some Mio. I don't know where you are in the world, but if you have Mio in your country, I highly suggest you fucking buy it, because it's a really healthy way to flavor your water, which thus makes you drink more water and then you lose more weight. So that's what I have going good for me right now. This is the future. This is the only thing I want sitting on my bathroom counter. I no longer want to have to keep this window open all day to air it out from the smell of weed. So over here, we have 24 grams, just less than an ounce of weed, 32% strong shit. And I just got it today. I went 7 days without weed and I couldn't sleep. I pulled 2 all-nighters, and the nights I did get sleep, I only really, I don't know, got like, I felt like I woke up every hour on the hour. And then with vaping, this is me lying to myself when I tell myself I quit smoking, because I haven't had a cigarette in over a year, but I have also replaced it with vaping. Granted, it's not as bad and the nicotine level is a lot lower and I find it highly less addicting. It's still not a good habit. And I could see myself in 4 more years being just as addicted to it as cigarettes. So we got to cut that shit out. So right now, I'm just taking the tiniest little pipe hoots because I feel really guilty for smoking weed. And I think if you're trying to quit a habit in life, you should like go without it long enough that you see the benefit for one day, and then like drink again or smoke again or have another cigarette, and then just see how guilty you feel and like try and get that guilt as high as possible. That's what I do. So I didn't smoke weed for 7 days. Now I have weed again, and I'm going to try and make it last as long as possible. I can make a rule like no smoking weed until 10:30 at night, and you're only allowed 2 hoots before bed. Use it for a sleeping device. Then it's not so bad. If you're medically using it within like restraint, I can see it. But right now, I just, that week where I had no weed, even though I was getting no sleep, I was in like this flow state. That's why that last video turned out so well. I was just in such a flow state. Like everything coming out of my mouth just felt perfect for the moment. And then I like took that first hoot and I literally, pardon my French guys, felt and I know you're not supposed to say that word anymore, and I'm not like gearing it towards people that are mentally challenged. I mean, like my brain shut off. Right, I'm just trying to like keep it super light today, so I think I'm just gonna do like a tour of my little condo that I've built on the inside of this house. The only thing I'm missing here is a kitchen. I have to go downstairs for the kitchen, but I got a pretty good setup, and I hope I didn't make anyone like cry too hard yesterday, like when I was like talking about me being homeless and shit, because my life ain't that bad. It was like a few months of my life. That's it. It was the worst few months of my life, but it's not my whole life. So I'm going to share with you my life right now. Share some insight, share some personality. Now we're just going to do a little cribs.
Jangan lupa kalau sesulit di tangan ni, boy. Skill, sariling skill, jangan tampil kalma si dekil labil. Kosakata seperti anak kecil, kena mental jika disentil. Mari sini saya kasih steril. Bye-bye, kalma maju, seangkat tangan bye-bye, telah dapat su. Stop berlagi gangster, kal mental mas dalam celana. Yop, sini ojo on the street, lo pakai pangkat ataupun lencana. Kau tahu toh, kau mampu stay tempo, semasi santai di jalanan.
This is going to be a lot like vision boarding, but a little bit different. I hope you can gain some value out of today. Welcome in. All right, so this is going to be kind of like a way to set up your room to give you constant reminders of who you are, where you're going, and what the next steps are, all without putting in a whole ton of effort. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, because it's right behind me, is all those sticky notes. I have even more on my wall. I'll show you when we do the tour of my room, and I show you everything around here and how I have it set up. But it's almost for like a business and spiritual purpose. The spiritual purpose is to keep you in line, and the business purpose is to keep your dreams fueling, because that's the dream these days. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to be out there making success. Everybody knows you can do online courses instead of going to college. Everybody knows that society is in a downward turn in terms of mainstream media and mainstream ways to live your life. This is a new day. This is a new era. This is the way that I am preparing for the future, and this is how I set up my room. So if your computer is important to your lifestyle, make sure that every app on your desktop, whether it's a Windows or Mac, has a purpose. Take out everything you don't need. Set up lamps so that you can turn off the lights at night and have dim lighting for easy, nice moods. Set up sticky notes and take notes. Give yourself like, that's my own quote. That's why I signed it. But there's other people's quotes on here. There's shit that I'm learning from my courses on here. There's stuff that I need to do in 4 more days on here. There's goals that I haven't even got to on here. And it's not organized in any particular way. And I almost do that on purpose because I gaze at it from far away like this, like when I'm brainstorming. And then I'll just come up and I usually just walk up and read a few and get something out of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote that down. And then I use it in my content idea, or I use it in my writing, or I use it in whatever I'm working on. So moving forward, have shit that is like childhood shit to you. So like for me, I played hockey growing up. I'm Canadian. My teams are the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames. So So I make that a theme in my room, and I have the jerseys set up intentionally around, reminding me of who I am, where I came from. I'm from Ontario. I was raised in Alberta. I have the military jersey to remind myself to be militant. I have a Kadri jersey because he's my favorite player from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he got traded to the Calgary Flames, and I think it's hilarious that he still plays for one of my favorite teams. Went out and got a puck at the arena. This is a memory from me and my dad. We went to the hockey game earlier this year, so I keep that up there. The red grinders from high school, the other two are from my early 20s, and the one there is a double of one that I'm using right now. I never had the balls to go out and buy Kobe's and Jordans and wear them and get flashy when I was younger, and this is the first pair of Kobe's I ever got, and I've never gotten anything nicer. I've gotten more Kobe's since, but these are the ones that mean the most to me because I've had them since I was 18 years old, and I'm 28 now. That hat was given to me when my friend moved to California. He's a dual citizen, and he spent 7 years in California, and we maintained our friendship probably because of that reminder every day that it's like, oh yeah, gotta be bros with Lawson. Got Ontario license plates from family in Ontario. Got an Alberta license plate behind all those phones. I have every phone from high school up until now, every phone I've had. I got my vapes. This is a reminder that I need to put vaping on the shelf. In-front marketing, almost got a job with them, but I didn't. But I kept it as a reminder to keep moving forward, because if one person was going to pay attention to me in the market, someone else will. I think you get the point. The whole point of this is to be on top of your shit and be happy about it, not just be disciplined about it, but to have an upward vibe around your environment that gives you constant reminders. That's it. That's the whole point of it. It's not like a vision board where you put up pictures of shit you want. I call that a greed board. That's not a vision board. If you have a board in your room just covered with pictures of mansions and cars and fancy shit you can't afford yet, with 1 or 2 goals written down on it, you're doing it completely backwards. This video is about limiting beliefs and how setting achievable goals that are just a little bit too easy could really damage your life, and not just hold you back in life, but actually turn you into a really unhealthy person and turn you into the worst version of yourself. How do I know this? Because I did that to myself. I'm out of it, we're good, but I'm gonna go over my story a little bit, and I hope this brings value to everyone. Join me. Alright, so we're just going to hop right into it. Long story short, when I was 20, I got diagnosed with manic bipolar 1, schizoaffective, and ADHD. And there are schizoaffective people, ADHD people, and bipolar people individually that are so severe that they are no longer a functioning human being, and they're living off disability for the rest of their lives. It gets that intense. And I'm one of those people. And I've written a book that I never published, but I fucking wrote it. I got 10 chapters written. I worked for Connie D'Souza, Canada's most celebrated female chef. I've had friends compete on Top Chef. I'm sure if I really went for it, I could have competed on Top Chef. I've had a personal chef business that did really well, but it wasn't super profitable, and I stopped. I've had a clothing business that did really well, but I didn't have the funds to keep going because my supplier lost all of my product in their own warehouse and literally put me out of business within a few hours. That's what happens when you're a startup, right? You can go out of business in 30 fucking minutes. With that being said, you can go out of business mentally in about a fucking year if you just don't take care of yourself. So the point of this is to move forward, see life in a new light, and understand that you have to set goals that you're probably not going to achieve. And when you get halfway to that, that is a 10x result compared to what you would have done prior. That's what I'm doing all the time. I do everything 100%. Let's get into that. Do everything 100%. And what I mean is, like, you'll probably, even if you tell yourself and whisper to yourself before every task, like, if I see a dirty plate and I just want to walk away from it, I'm like, do everything 100%. And I turn around and I do it. If I see something in a video that I really like, and I've been writing a lot of notes and I'm feeling kind of lazy now and I might turn the video off, I'm like, no, do everything 100%. Do everything when you don't feel like it. Write that note down and hold yourself accountable. That's the whole point of goal setting, is to hold yourself accountable so that you know where you are in your progress. It's not just wishful thinking that gets you out of your mental health state. It's not just wishful thinking that gets you to a new spiritual level. It's not just wishful thinking that's going to get me successful and help this brand new TikTok account do really well. By the way, guys, you're watching a video with someone with only 6 followers on this account. So if you want to like, share, comment, subscribe. Oh shit, this isn't on YouTube yet. Actually, I might throw this one on YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know what it does? It fuels the algorithm if you're getting any value out of this. But anyway, I just really want to make it clear that I've been homeless before from my mental health. I couldn't find my way home. I was so deep in psychosis. That's how it happened. And I'm here. I found my way. I'm doing really well. And I want to inspire the next person that is just about to slip. So if you feel yourself slipping in life, I want you to follow me, because I'm doing these videos all the time now. This is my second one today, and it's only 10:21 in the morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. I might have 2 more videos uploaded by the end of today, so stick around. So today is just a conversation, which means I have no conclusion to what I'm going to say. I almost don't even know where this is going. I just know that I want to talk about the flow state, because it is a very real thing, and I did experience it. I've experienced it in psychosis in terms of mental health issues. I've experienced like this flow state where I reached peak fucking performance before I finally cracked and went to the other side and went crazy. And I've also just experienced the flow state in terms of trying to be productive and having a good week in content creation, a good week on YouTube, and a good week on TikTok. Now, last week, I documented all my hours. So we got 12.5 hour day, 10.5 hour day, 13-hour day, 12.5 hour day, 10-hour day, 13-hour day, and casual day off. And it was like a really good process. The only problem was I wasn't smoking any weed. I was only drinking water. I was on this like hefty diet. I was taking 1 to 2 walks a week. I completely, basically almost changed who I was to pull off that productive of a week and to be able to post like 8-9 videos for you guys. It was crazy. And ever since then, I've just been like, man, like, how am I going to top that? Blah, blah, blah. But I think it's just about one video at a time, one topic at a time. So right now, with me trying to achieve the flow state, I went on a totally different wagon this week where I was smoking. I'm baked right now. I was smoking weed all day, every day for the past 5 days. I have gotten barely anything done. I have posted no videos. This is the first video that I'm making this week. It might even be the only video that I put out this week because of the pattern that I'm on right now. But I'm trying to see how much of the flow state is because I changed my habits and my eating and my smoking habits, and how much of the flow state was because I was mentally prepared to work that hard and just work that hard anyway. And I'll tell you one thing. I've been trying to work just as hard this week with the marijuana in my life and with the not taking walks and not watching my diet as much and just kind of eating and drinking whatever. I am not even close to the same person that I was the week before when I was putting out all those videos. So I think in order to maintain and gain traction online, it's not just about how good of a content creator you are or what your topics are or how your editing is or the time of day that you post. It's literally about your consistency as a human being, because the person that you are in those times that gets you those results could be the person that you are all the time. And I think that's what I'm learning for myself. And I think that's what we're learning together through this conversation. But anyway, guys, I'm trying to put out great content. I'm trying to reach an audience. I'm trying to really dive into mental health in a new way and not make everything about a super deep emotional conversation, because it's not like that. The mental health community doesn't want another shoulder to cry on. The mental health community wants solutions. All right, so basically, we're just going to go over mental health and drug use and why it's bad for you. But my last statement here at the very end of the video, you might not agree with. It's totally off cuff, but I totally believe it myself. All right, so there are 3 ways you can become mentally ill. So listen up. You either have a genetic predisposition, you were born with a gene in your brain that can activate the mental illness. If it's triggered, you can have mental abuse in your life. You could have a drunk alcoholic father that grew up beating you, some situation like that, and end up mentally ill. Or you can do drugs and alcohol and end up mentally ill. Now, why do we avoid drugs? Not because they're bad, not because I believe there is spiritual powers to things like acid and all that, but for somebody with a genetic predisposition for a mental illness, you really want to stay away from even chancing it. So how do you know if you are or if you're not? You don't. You never find out if you have a genetic predisposition for a mental illness until you get diagnosed with a mental illness and the doctors take you to the hospital and you fucking go through a CAT scan and then they fucking, let's go over that again. Genetic predisposition, mental abuse, and drugs. If you are mentally ill, you can categorize yourself in the one of the 3 or the all 3. Now, when you do that, you have power to your situation because you're like, oh my God, at least I have the root of the problem, right? So if there's no longer a bunch of mental abuse in your family because you grew up and now you live on your own and you have your own life, well then how are you going to get any worse? Doesn't sound like you're getting any worse. Sounds like you could get a whole lot better. Now apply that to whatever situation any of you are in your life. Now, on the contrary, there's one drug, one substance, one plant that I will vouch for and say, I don't think it's as bad as everybody thinks it is. And I know I'm in North America here where marijuana is vastly legal all across Canada and most of the United States, so we have a different opinion on it. But I smoke weed like periodically, like throughout the day, every day for like years, way before I was mentally ill, way after I was mentally. I've never tripped into psychosis because of it. It's never triggered any of my mania. It's never caused a hallucination. It's never really done anything. To be honest, I've been smoking it for so long that I don't even really get that baked anymore even. I just like the taste, I think. I think it's just part of my habit. It's just part of my way. And anyway, I'm not 100% on what I just said. That's just my personal opinion. I'd like you guys to comment below if weed is really affecting your life or not, or if it's really affecting your mental illness or not. Because for me, it's not. Like, I'm thriving right now, and I don't have any intentions of quitting it anytime soon. But as far as the rest of the drugs and alcohol shit goes, like, guys, get off the drugs, bro. Get off the drugs. If somebody's mentally abusing you, get them the fuck out of your life. All right, with all this self-help talk and personal growth stuff that goes on the internet and like a vast large community of people trying to better and grow themselves, when you're mentally ill, it can kind of feel like you're not in that category because you're going to be dealing with these issues and symptoms and medications and chances of going to the hospital again for the rest of your life. But life just isn't that way. Like, you can totally put yourself in that category and start learning and growing and bettering your life even if you have a mental health issue or a mental health diagnosis. So this all starts with busting a myth. The myth that you need a support group or a support system to succeed in your mental health recovery and maintain stability. Side story, do you know how many friends you lose content creating and like putting yourself out there on the internet and trying to live your best life? Like everybody calls you a fucking crazy motherfucker. And I actually am a crazy motherfucker. And I get called a crazy motherfucker by those people. I don't talk to them anymore. AKA, I don't have my support group anymore. I have my family. I have like one, maybe two friends. Nope, just one that I talk to. And that's enough for me. And I'm healthier than I've ever been. When you're surrounded by your support group, they bring on the limiting beliefs because they assume your abilities. They assume the position you're in life. And you'll talk about something you're going through or what's going on, and they'll be like, oh, like, how's your medication cycle? Are you taking them regularly? It's like, dude, you know if you know. That's just not how it works. So I've been in the psych ward 3 times, okay? 3 different hospitals, 2 different cities. And I noticed the same thing. The number one reason why everyone's my best friend in there is because I'm the only one that's not being held back by limiting beliefs when I'm sick and when my psychosis gets the best of me and I actually need hospitalization. It will happen every once in a while. Every 5, 6, 7 years, you know, you go to the bin. It is what it is. Then you take your meds, then you go home and you're better. But in there, everybody, and I know which crowd I'm talking to here because I've sat at the same tables with you in the same psych wards in the same hospitals. They don't believe they're ever going to be happy again. They don't believe that they have a future. They don't believe they're going to get a career. They don't believe they're going to fall in love. They don't believe any of this. And if they have any of these things that somebody else might want, they think they're going to lose it. And they think that they can't maintain it. And they think that it's all over. Guys, I know I already made a video about limiting beliefs, but like the power of believing in yourself and just telling yourself, whether there's a God out there, to this is a spirit, or to whoever or whatever your religion is, you just tell yourself, I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. This is the process. Everything's going to be cool. And it's all about that self-talk. And that is so much more powerful than a fucking support system of people who do not understand what you go through, and they never will, and they'll never be able to support you in the right way possible. So stop leaning on the people in your life so much. It probably stresses them out. That's probably what causes the arguments. You gotta take it in your own hands. Fucking fight, bro. Believe in you.